Hey everybody, Todd here. I just wanted to let everybody know I hope you're safe and staying healthy. God willing, we'll be through this coronavirus situation soon. In the meantime, we've rolled out a way to still do depositions. We're doing them remotely now via the free Zoom app. Many clients are already seeing the advantages of this because it can be done from anywhere and on any device. I've already done a podcast about it and started a resource library for it at www.toddolivas.com/remote depositions. Check that out or give us a call at 888-566-0253. Okay, on to the podcast.
Okay, have some energy, boys. We on? We're live?
We're on. I forgot my Red Bull.
Cheers. Cheers. This is the, hello everybody. This is the first TOA Boyz Storytellers podcast of 2021. Hello everybody. Hi.
Hi.
Joined by El Richie, Ricky Castro.
El Richie.
Coming in live from our Brea suite in beautiful Brea, California. Yep. And then there's Jonathan at our Marietta suite. Both of these guys are pointing at the wall. I'll point at my wall. I'm at home.
I actually I just rebuilt a wall in my house to look exactly like the office, so I don't have to leave my house.
Really? That'd be good. Just take the screenshot and make that your background. You can always pretend to be at work. No, but hello. So it's already February. January came and went and escaped us without much of a podcast presence. But I figured, hey, let's jump in February and let's talk about what we got going on. Say hi to everybody, and also try something new. Try an experiment now. Okay. And that is let's visit our friends at WorkComp Central and skim off some of the pertinent California news that we could just look at the headlines. You know, obviously we're not giving away the goods on their articles and such, but there's some good news on here that maybe we could discuss and people could be informed. Of course, we would encourage anybody to go sign up at workcompcentral.com if they wanted to see the articles in full. But so that's what we'll be getting into, some of these news articles that we thought were interesting or were kind of relevant for what's going on today in 2021. So how's that sound?
Sounds great. Yeah.
Hey, but also we got some of our own initiatives going on this first quarter of the year. What do we got planned? What's right around the corner? You guys want to tip our hand a little bit to the world?
I'm going to be entering my first mustache championship.
You have a good chance of that.
Yeah.
For anybody just listening, you can't see, I'm going to post a selfie of us doing, and you got to see Jonathan's COVID mustache, how it's coming along.
It's my filter, my nose filter.
Oh man, I got the COVID hair. If you guys can see, I don't know, man. I used to be clean cut, you know what I mean? Like professional looking, and now I look like I don't know what I look like. Some surf bum.
Professional
I like
surfer.
it.
Should I keep it?
Absolutely, yes. Keep it.
Yeah, it's just because my barber was closed forever. I go to the Floyd's 99 or whatever, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so they were closed. They weren't even doing any black market backdoor services, you know. So I got used to it, and now, you know, having longish hair kind of sucks because it's every day. It's like it's coming out in the shower. I got all this hair in the drain.
Process to do it. You know,
yeah. What about your beard too? Is that like kind of a pain in the butt too? You get used to it.
No, I kind of get used to it now. Like, you know, as soon as I get out of the shower, put some oil on it, and then now it's just kind of to the point where it's trained. So it'll just stay semi on this condition, and I'll just put some wax, and then that's it.
Yeah. And Rick's got the opposite. Rick's got the full beard, but this thin little mustache on top, like.
Yeah. No, I've been brushing it, but every once in a while, I'll just let it fluff out. Yeah. I love it.
That's one thing I decided to do for, if I'm going to have my hair long, at least I'm going to shave all the time though. So I'm always like clean shaven-ish.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Very clean.
Because it would be too, you know, like Bigfoot or Sasquatch-ish if I were just to let everything go out, you know. And we are sponsored today by my Coke Zero. Thank you, Coke Zero. What are you drinking there, Rick?
Just water.
Water. Of course. Mr. Health Nut.
Oh, yeah.
Me,
Just
I want all the
basics.
aspartame I can get. I want all the fake sugar.
For sure.
For
We
sure,
were going
for
to
sure.
share a little bit of what we're going to be doing later on.
Oh, shoot.
This
Yeah.
month.
So Rick, hit it.
Yeah. So we're having a wonderful presenter by the name of Jim Whitcup. He owns his own law firm, Whitcup Law, up in San Jose. And so he's gonna. Jonathan, you want to share a little bit of what he's gonna say?
Yeah.
The presentation.
Yeah. So we're gonna be launching a new series of webinars at the beginning of this year. For this first quarter, hopefully end of February, and start doing it a quarterly thing. We ended up the year strong with some webinars, and at one point we had over 250 people register for the webinars. So it'll be 1 hour webinars for one CEU. The topic will be on settlement documents and post-settlement disputes for this first one. And so we have some exciting things coming on with more of those webinars.
Super excited. So big shout out to Jim Whitcup up in San Jose. Has been a client of ours since, I think it was 2011, Rick, or 2012, when we first started getting files, depositions from his office. And it's been a great relationship for all these years. And now that we do these CEUs, I mean, it makes perfect sense to have somebody in Northern California, kind of chime in with his expertise. It's going to be great. He's very entertaining, highly brilliant, and it's going to be good, I think.
The cool thing of what we do with our webinars too is that it's kind of topics that they can see that are important. It's topics addressing problems that they're seeing right now in their files, and kind of the day-to-day operations of the law firm and the adjuster's work, and all the different stages of the life of a file. So it's not just one size fits all, just come get your CEUs, but it's get your CEUs and some useful information as well.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken too, it was around this time last year that we're gearing up for our big event. We were on track to do 300 people at our last convention.
More than 300. 350 something.
Yeah, we rented out the Riverside Convention Center because we had grown from hotel ballrooms all the way up to the convention center size. And this was March of 2020. And thank God ours was earlier enough in the month, March 6th, 2020, where we are hosting our fourth annual TOA conference, TOA University Conference. And we squeaked in right under the bell before the guillotine came down and shut.
2 weeks before the lockdown.
Insane, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks before the two weeks before the 2 weeks to curb the spread.
That's right. To curb the spread. I was told this was going to be a 2 week deal. Now it's going on a year. Wow. Obviously, many changes have happened since then.
Yeah, longest 2 weeks of my life.
Of our lives. But because of that, I mean, the silver lining is that now we can offer CEU still through Zoom. We do these through Zoom, and we can offer them to people statewide. You don't have to travel. You don't have to because honestly, those events are amazing. And once we can, we will go back to doing those. But to host, as you can imagine, having rented out the convention center of Riverside, a large town, and that place could hold, thousands of people, is not cheap, And so we did it as an investment into our relationships with our clients, since every penny of it is worth it. But not being able to do it though has its benefits too, and that is that we can still offer these things more often and quality content education for
with the webinar setting too, it allows for more people to participate. Because it doesn't matter where you're geographically. It could be Northern California, Southern California, anywhere you can join up. And also, I think it's one of the cool things that I really like is that when you have those 1 day conventions, it's okay, if you do the convention and you have a doctor's appointment or can take the day off from work, or you miss it, that's it. You have to wait until the next year versus the series of webinars that we do, kind of like the rolling calendar. It's okay. You weren't able to make this one. Well, we'll have another one in a month or so. So you don't completely miss out of the, community and the learning.
100%. I remember we did one of our CU conferences on Zoom last year. And I remember some of the feedback afterwards was that the company that we were doing it for was happy that we had done it, because they're spread out throughout California and in remote offices. And so that was an opportunity for them to get the education all in one group. And they wouldn't have been able to do that if it had to be in person like the olden days. So
Yeah.
do we have a date for our next C thing, or is it still kind of pending?
Not locked in, but at the end of the month.
Towards the end of March? February?
February. Yep.
That's what our target. Okay, so stay tuned on that. We're excited about that. Okay, but moving on for today, our experiment, was to look at some of the California news and work comp. And so I'm pulling this from our friends at Work Comp Central. I have a subscription there, and I would invite everyone to go over there too if you care to see this stuff in person and have your own subscription. It'd be so worth it. Let's see. In no particular order, I guess this story: Foster Farms employee dies in industrial accident, and it stuck out to me because it was a sort of just a reminder of what can happen. Because so the title is Foster Farms reported that a 50-year-old man died in an industrial accident Wednesday, according to a report by the Merced Sun-Star. So I guess the original story was in the Merced Sun-Star. Wow. Mario Ramos Espinoza was working at the company's fertilizer plant near Livingston when that accident occurred. And the sheriff said that he arrived at the work site around 4 p.m. to work on a water truck, and a coworker found Espinoza underneath the truck, which was still running. Later on, he was pronounced dead. So it just goes to show you, I mean, people are injured at work, of course, but also tragically, sometimes they also die there. And the importance of what people who adjust risk and stuff, it can't be understated. I mean, this is life and death for that guy's family, and for his life, that's now been tragically taken way too soon. He's only 50 years old. I'm 50 years old. Well, I'm almost 50 years old. So anyway, I don't have much more to say on that unless you guys want to chime in on it.
Well, I think it speaks maybe about like the one thing that I think that sometimes I overlook, and it's like once you become comfortable with something, you think that nothing bad's going to happen. And it's like you can never be too careful. Obviously still investigations on their way, but whether it's just driving, in your commute, or when people have industrial jobs, it's like you just can never be too careful. You cannot ignore the stages of safety because you never know.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Rick?
No, it just also speaks wonders about our friends, the risk managers that handle these claims. I was with one of our friends, Joe Rodriguez, the other day, and he had one of these calls, and he was on his day off and just did everything to let that claim go further, and the medical and all that stuff. There's a lot.
Get them the help they needed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, in risk management, you have to have empathy, because, that could be you, that could be your family. And this kind of stuff right here, it's tough.
I know. You go to work and then you don't come home. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Another one of those that's like that. If I change screen, did that change it for you guys too?
Yeah, it did change.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a different story, but it's and it's very complex. Okay, and as a non-attorney, I'm not going to even try and weigh in on it. That's obviously beyond my pay grade, as you might say. But this title of this article is "Despite Potential Climb, Businesses Continue to Fight for Injunction Against." Wait, this isn't the one I wanted to do. I wanted to do the one about the other one with that lawsuit. Let's see.
Oh, I don't think you have it pulled up right now. I don't see it.
I don't. So I'm gonna go get it real fast. So scratch that. Talks among yourselves. Blah blah blah. California. they Work Comp Central. I guess this is turning into a commercial for Work Comp Central, which I'm happy to do. But super easy to get news for your state, and we're in California, so I'm gonna pull up California, of course. Let's see. What was it? Do you remember the name of it? Let's see. Despite. Oh wait. Foster Farms. DHW. COVID claims. Construction supply. This is the one. Construction supply company. Okay. Way too complex for me to understand. I'll just lay that out there. Okay. No shame in my game. But what did strike me is that the underlying thing that happened was that poor guy died at this job site. And here's what it was describing. Okay, so it was at a construction site. So the underlying case is Atlas Construction Supply Company versus Swinnerton Builders, which is a huge builder. You've probably seen their trucks or their signage going on, major projects going on. Okay, so Swinnerton Builders was the general contractor for the construction of a residential development. So you can imagine it's this big giant residential development going on in San Diego. Okay, and then Swinnerton subcontracted with JR Construction to perform concrete work, and with Brewer Crane and Rigging to perform crane work. Okay, so this all this stuff going on. JR Construction, they rented a concrete column formwork from Atlas. And so when they pour concrete, they need forms. They're like molds, right? I guess. Yeah. How I'm understanding it. Like these molds, formwork. And this one was approximately 10 feet tall and weighed 300 to 400 pounds.
Jeez.
So it's this giant thing. I mean, if you're 5 or 6 feet tall, it's twice as tall as you, and 4 times as much as, or whatever. Super heavy, big giant thing. So long story short, it fell on a poor guy and killed him, right? And so let's see what happened was
one of the guys stepped off.
He and a coworker climbed up the formwork to modify it, rig it just correctly, right? But when the colleague stepped off, De Velasco, who is the person who died, his weight caused it to topple. So De Velasco was attached to the framework by a clip and suffered fatal injuries. So, and then of course there's all kinds of lawsuits after that. Terrible situation. It just goes to show you that like there's injuries and then there's tragic fatal injuries as well. And our hearts go out to that family and to all the people involved. So
yeah, it's a difficult situation, especially because I think that for the companies, although I'm sure that they feel the grief over the tragedy. It's I think it gets lost on the shuffle of all the legal battles. Between now you have 4 parties that are involved between the contractors, the developer, and then Atlas Construction. And I think ultimately, I think that the first thing that should always be addressed is the family.
Right.
But always they're caught up in trying to pass along the buck, which also speaks, I think, the importance of like good, experienced attorneys. That are really looking out for the best interest of all the parties involved, but also can, handle the situations with a lot of tact. You can all read experience.
Yeah. Right. All right. Let's switch gears. It is a beautiful day out there. So I was stepping outside and I was commenting to my wife, hey, it's like springtime is almost here, And then she's like, well, got to get the sunscreen out almost. You know what I mean? So then this particular next article.
The groundhog did see his shadow. So winter. 6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah. When is Puxtatawny Phil supposed to come out? Or did he already do that?
Today.
It was today?
Yeah.
Today's Groundhog's Day. Oh, of course. I love that movie.
Did he really see a shadow or?
Yeah, he did.
He did?
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So
6 more weeks.
Wow. Okay. So this is a news flash. This bill would extend skin cancer presumption to state parks workers and game wardens. So game wardens and California state park workers with law enforcement responsibilities would be covered by the same skin cancer presumption that applies to city and state lifeguards under a recently introduced bill, Assembly Bill 334 by Assemblyman Kevin Mullen, Democrat from South San Francisco, would create a rebuttable presumption that skin cancer is an occupational condition for peace officers employed by the Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Department of Parks and Recreation. I haven't read it, of course, but it sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, it sounds reasonable too. I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I imagine it would apply to anybody who works outside, right? It's like, got to be part of the deal. Police officers, even
that's totally understandable.
Anybody. The presumption would apply to the specified workers following termination for up to 60 months, so even 5 years later. accruing at a rate of 3 calendar months for each full year of service. Wow. So we'll have to track that. It's obviously just a bill
it's an
right
ongoing.
now.
Yeah.
Let's see. And it has, what's the status of it? AB 334 was introduced Wednesday. So it's really brand new and it's awaiting referral to committee. So it's not even out of the gate yet almost, but we'll just have to keep an eye on that. So I'm so bad at wearing sunscreen anyway, but I should get better. Mostly for my face.
Same here.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Same here.
it's tricky too, because it's like how can you differentiate when you came from work or when you came, like you said, from being bad at wearing sunscreen when you go to the beach?
I know. Right.
Like, you know, my wife's the worst because, you know, I'm kind of dark brown. And so every time I say like, oh, you know what, I need some sunscreen, she goes like, you don't burn anyways. And so
Does she have an insurance policy out on you that you
probably
yeah,
probably
look into it.
You're fine. Don't wear a seatbelt. Don't worry about
Don't
it.
even worry.
Don't even worry about it.
Don't even worry.
Don't even worry.
Oh, love and marriage.
I did see her shopping for an island the other day. So
I bet you could find an island for, I don't know, under $1 million somewhere in the world. Probably way less than $1 million.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. There's like millions of or I don't know, millions, but many islands that you could go visit or maybe even buy in like the Philippines, or tiny little, you know, micro
islands. Yeah, they call
micro
them.
islands. So, all right. Next story. This one's a little, well, it's kind of sad too. So CWCI says the COVID claims for 2020, they clear 103,000. But then that wasn't including all of December. So let's see, the December spike in COVID-19 claims continue to grow and has pushed the total number of pandemic-related claims for 2020 past 103,000. And this is from the California Workers' Compensation Institute. It's their report. Let's see, CWCI on Wednesday said 32,549 cases were filed in December 2020, bringing the total number of claims for accident year 2020 to 103,700. But let's see, they will go on. With additional year-end claims continuing to be filed, CWCI projects that the ultimate COVID-19 claim counts for December will be 43,290.
Yeah, because they're still coming in.
Still coming in.
In theory, if you work December 31st and you got sick, you didn't have a chance to claim anything yet. But
so it's projected then, based off that, what you just said, then the accident year 2020 is projected 117,000.
Yeah, I was actually just hearing a report about that though. And one of the issues that people are finding is, it's been an abnormal low flu season. And so it turns out that some of the tests, I guess, I was hearing some doctors talk about it. Some of the tests that they do to test for COVID, they're not actually testing the virus COVID. They're testing for some of the antibodies.
Oh, really?
Which can be generated by the immune system that when they're fighting the flu. So just how people get that false negative, you could get a false positive, and it's not that you don't have COVID, it's that you have the influenza virus per se.
Wow.
So, a lot of technicality, and it's like a lot of stuff that is kind of like floating out there that they're trying to figure out with some of the testing. Yep.
This article goes on to say that the distribution by industry shows the healthcare sector and public safety government workers continue to count for more COVID-19 claims than other sectors. So healthcare and public safety / government sectors. So that kind of makes sense. They're on the front lines of it. They're directly
the ones that can't close.
They can't close. They're dealing directly with the public. That they have more than their fair share of the cases. So that makes perfect sense. And man, you just got to get the vaccinations out there even more faster, and with more insurance companies or more pharmaceutical companies coming to market with their
version of the vaccine.
Their versions is just good news. So it could be in a different state, later on this summer, midway through, certainly, God willing, later this year, so we can get back out there, all of us, everybody.
Yeah. Get back to the normality of life.
Back out there to get sunburned.
Yeah. Okay. So this is our first T.O.A. Boyz podcast with our news segment, news update.
Yes. All right. So who's gonna do the weather?
Ricky, that's you. Richie, do the weather. Do the weather. Sunny.
I'll get my green screen.
Okay. All right, everybody. So that was it. That's our podcast for today. We're going to return with some guests. Oh, Jonathan, you had a great idea early before we even started, which was that maybe we should have a guest, like attorney.
Yeah, some attorneys that can actually offer some legal commentary, not advice, but commentary on some of these news. Obviously, like you said, some of this stuff is above our pay grade. I had to draw a couple of diagrams to try to figure out what was going on.
I know. Stick figures for me.
But yeah, I mean, it's always helpful for, to have attorneys that can, share their wealth of knowledge with the WCAB community, the adjusters, the risk people. And so, yeah, ideally, we would like to kind of have a rotation of different, I guess, quote unquote, you could say panelists that could come and share their opinions.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's throw that out there. Any attorneys out there who would like to come along and join us on the next one, send Jonathan an email.
Yeah. So email is, you email Jonathan at jcastro, that's JCAST as in Tom, RO at toddolivas.com.
Perfect. All right, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey, it's Todd. I just want to let you know this TOA Storytellers podcast episode is sponsored by my company, Todd Olivas and Associates. We've been supplying court reporters for depositions since 2003. If you're an attorney and need a reporter anywhere in California, we've got you covered. We're on a lot of preferred vendor panels already, but if we're not on the ones you have, usually a simple inquiry from you to your TPA or employer does the trick. Or if you work at a TPA or employer, please ask your defense attorneys to give us a try on one of your files. We've been known to treat our clients like family, and we would love a chance to work with you next. To schedule a deposition, simply call 888-566-0253 or visit www.toddolivas.com. That's www.toddolivas.com. Thank you, and hopefully we'll see you at your next deposition.